Habs. Have you ever seen a rainbow stretch across the sky and wondered where it came from? What if I told you it was a promise, a special message from a long, long time ago? Get ready for an incredible adventure on a giant boat with every animal you can imagine on the biggest flood the world has ever seen. This is the story of Noah and his amazing ark. Long, long ago, the world was a beautiful place, filled with green hills, sparkling rivers, and tall, strong trees. But people had forgotten how to be kind. They weren't listening to God anymore and were filling the world with selfishness and arguments. It made God very sad to see the wonderful world he had created filled with so much unhappiness. But in the middle of all this, there was one man who was different. His name was Noah. Noah loved God, and he tried his best to be good, kind, and fair every single day. He talked to God, and God talked back to him. Noah's heart was full of goodness, and God saw this. He saw Noah, his wife, and their 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives, living as a loving family. One day, God spoke to Noah with a very important, very big job. He told Noah, "I'm going to wash the world clean with a great flood, a rain so powerful it will cover everything. But I want to save you and your family, and all the animals." Noah must have been so surprised. God continued, "I need you to build an ark, a huge boat." God gave Noah the exact instructions. "Make it from gopher wood," said, "and cover it inside and out with pitch to make it waterproof." God told him how long, how wide, and how high to build it. It was going to be enormous, with 3 decks, rooms for all the animals, and a window at the top. It would be the biggest boat anyone had ever seen. So, Noah and his sons got to work. Imagine the sounds. The chop chop chap of axes cutting down tall gopher trees. The bang 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 of hammers as they joined the giant wooden planks together. Day after day, week after week, month after month, they worked under the hot sun. People from nearby towns would walk by, point, and laugh. "Look at Noah," they'd say. "He's building a giant boat on dry land. Has he gone crazy? There isn't even a lake nearby." They didn't understand. Noah tried to tell them about God's message and the coming rain, but they wouldn't listen. They just laughed and went back to their own ways. But Noah didn't let their laughter stop him. He trusted God and kept on building. He knew he was doing what was right. Finally, after a very long time, the ark was finished. It stood tall and strong, a massive wooden vessel ready for its journey. It was a magnificent sight. Now came the next part of God's amazing plan. God told Noah, "It's time to gather the animals." And then, the most incredible parade began. From the north, south, east, and west, animals started coming towards the ark. They came in pairs, a boy and a girl of every kind. Can you picture it? 2 tall giraffes with their long necks, walking side by side. 2 big, stomping elephants, their trunks swinging. 2 fluffy lions, the king and queen of the jungle, walking peacefully. There were striped zebras, bouncy kangaroos, slow-moving turtles, and slithery snakes. Monkeys chattered as they swung towards the ramp. Colorful birds of every feather flew in and found a place to perch. Little tiny mice and big brown bears all came 2 by 2. They weren't fighting or scared. They walked calmly up the long ramp and into the giant ark, just as God had planned. It was a parade of creation, a beautiful and orderly procession of every living creature. Once every animal was safely inside, from the ladybugs to the hippos, it was time for Noah's family to board. Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives walked up the ramp. They took one last look at the green world outside, feeling both nervous and safe, knowing they were in God's care. Then, something amazing happened. The giant, heavy door of the ark began to close. Noah didn't close it. His sons didn't close it. God himself sealed the door shut, keeping them safe inside. For 7 days, they waited inside the ark. Outside, the sky was still blue. Then, on the 7th day, it began. A single drop of rain, then another and another. Soon the drops turned into a drizzle, the drizzle into a downpour, and the downpour into a powerful rushing storm. Water also gushed up from under the ground. It rained harder and harder than anyone had ever seen. The water rose quickly. It covered the grass, then the bushes, then the houses. Soon, the water was so high that the great ark began to float. It lifted off the ground and bobbed on the rising water. Inside, Noah and his family could hear the rushing rain and feel the gentle rock and sway of the boat. They were safe and dry, surrounded by all the animals. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights without stopping. The whole world was covered in a vast ocean. Nothing could be seen but water, as far as the eye could see. The giant ark drifted on the surface, a tiny speck on a massive sea, but a safe haven for everyone inside. Noah and his family were busy during this time, taking care of all the animals, feeding them, and making sure they were comfortable. It was a lot of work, but they did it with thankful hearts. After the 40 days of rain finally stopped, the water covered the earth for many more months. Then, slowly, the water started to go down. One day, the ark gently bumped and came to a stop. It had rested on the top of a mountain called Ararat. Noah waited a little longer, and then he opened the window at the top of the ark. He wanted to see if the earth was dry yet. First, he sent out a raven. The raven flew back and forth, but it couldn't find a place to land. Then, Noah sent out a dove. The little dove flew around and came right back to the ark, as she couldn't find a single dry branch to rest her feet on. Noah waited 7 more days and sent the dove out again. This time, when the dove came back in the evening, she was carrying something in her beak. It was a freshly picked olive leaf. Noah knew what this meant. The waters had gone down enough for the trees to start growing again. Hope filled the ark. After waiting just 1 more week, Noah sent the dove out for a 3rd time. This time, she didn't come back at all. She had found a new home in the dry new world. The time had finally come. God spoke to Noah again. It's time. Come out of the ark, you and your family, and all the animals with you. The great door opened, and a bright light filled the ark. Noah and his family stepped out onto dry land and took a deep breath of the fresh, clean air. The world was new and clean. Then came the animals, pouring out of the ark, ready to fill the earth again. The lions roared, the birds sang, and the elephants trumpeted. What a joyful celebration! The very first thing Noah did was build an altar to thank God. He was so grateful that God had kept them safe through the great flood. As Noah was praying, God put a beautiful sign in the sky. A brilliant, colorful rainbow stretched from one side of the horizon to the other. Then God made a promise to Noah, to his family, and to every living creature. He said, "This rainbow is my promise to you. I will never again cover the whole earth with a flood to destroy it. Whenever you see a rainbow in the clouds, it will be a reminder of this everlasting promise between me and all life on earth." And so, every time you see a beautiful rainbow after the rain, you can remember the story of Noah. It's a story of listening to God, of courage when others laugh, and of a wonderful promise that shines brightly in the sky for all of us to see. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. If you loved this story, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel, Bible Tunes, and ring the bell so you won't miss our next adventure. See you next time.